drills it ahead in transition. Nice Euro step.
Now Jordan left wing. Alley-oop on the waist. Mitchell lobbed to the rim. Washington trickles out and throws it.
He'll take the three-pointer. That one drops in. What a big-time shot.
Welcome to the 2017 MAAC Basketball Championships on ESPN3. Tonight, from the Times Union Center in downtown Albany, New York, it's a semifinal matchup between the number 2 seed St. Peter's Peacocks and the number 3 seeded Iona Gales. Siena, in a classic, comes from 17 points down to eliminate the regular season champ from Monmouth. And so the Saints await the winner of this one between the Gales and Peacocks. And welcome everybody to downtown Albany. Doug Sherman along with Rob Kennedy. And if the second semifinal lives up to the drama we just saw, we are in for a doozy. Rob, what do you see in this game between St. Peter's and Iona?
Well, these are teams that play completely different styles of basketball. You got St. Peter's, that's a defensive-minded team, wants to slow the pace down, and you've got Iona, who wants to go up and down, spread you out beyond the three-point line. Last time these two teams played, it went overtime. I don't know if you can top what we just saw in the last game, but we'll give it a try.
Well, our I Love New York key players, we're going inside to highlight a couple of the best bigs in the league, starting with Jordan Washington.
Well, Jordan Washington's the most athletic big and the toughest guard inside because he's quick off his feet. He can move, he can step you out to the perimeter, but when you get isolation one-on-one in the low post, he is a handful. They're going to have to make sure they run multiple bodies at him here today. On the other side, Quadir Welton, he's a blue-collar, low-post guy. He doesn't wander outside the paint just about at all, and he doesn't have to because he can play to his strength. As a freshman, sophomore, he could only rebound and block shots. Now, as a senior, he can score it inside as well. One of the reasons why he was honored earlier this week as a first-team All-MAAC selection. These are the only 2 posts on the first team. We'll be going head-to-head here tonight inside.
And they are our I Love New York key players. New York State, it's all here. It's only here. Tonight's starting lineup brought to you by BSN Sports. Ricky McGill, the terrific sophomore point guard. E.J. Crawford on the all-freshman team in the league. Seth Casimir coming off a big performance. Will he be able to back that up tonight? Deshaun Much and Jordan Washington round out the starting 5 for the Gales, who are 20-12 overall. St. Peter's comes in 19-12 with Nick Griffin, Travis Weish, Nnamdi Anechionya, Chaz Patterson, and Quadir Welton. St. Peter's is the number 2 seed in this tournament, facing Tim Cluse's club that is used to getting to the semis and used to getting to the MAAC championship game. You see, he has won this tournament twice. Tim Cluse during his 7-year tenure, and every single time they go to the post, they seem to get it done. 20 wins every year, and looking to make it 21 and punch the ticket to face Siena tomorrow night. Meanwhile, John Dunn's club riding a 7-game winning streak coming in, and I wonder if he's starting to get the same feel as he did, what was it now, 6 years ago, back in 2011, when he had a veteran club similar to this one, and they were able to win the championship and go on to the NCAA.
And first thing you got to do is win the semifinal and get yourself into an opportunity to play Siena here at home. As you said, that'd be their first trip to the final since 2011. For Tim Cluse, it would be his 5th consecutive trip to the MAAC championship game and the 6th in 7 years. That is a dominant record in the MAAC tournament.
And as it is, this is Iona's 7th consecutive MAAC semifinal and conference record 22nd overall. That dates back to the 81-82 season.
And the only time Tim Cluse didn't get to the championship game, they lost in the semifinals, and his team still got an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament.
Weish. Washington flops, no call. And the first bucket of the ball game is by Welton.
And a good no call right there. Can't reward the defense if they're just going to flop.
Our officials this evening, Rob Riley, Brian O'Connell, and Brandon Cruz. Much, the Buffalo transfer, a little long on his first attempt. And the Peacocks with the basketball. Griffin feeds the post. Welton with 4 quick points.
Well, when you're playing against Iona, you've got to pound the basketball inside to force Jordan Washington to guard. He has foul trouble, finds himself on the bench just about every game. But on the reverse side of it, when you got a guy like Welton that can score, you also want to play through him no matter who's guarding him.
Washington. Air ball long. St. Peter's up 4-0 with the basketball. In they go again. This time Washington comes around, knocks the ball loose, and then throws it off the leg of Griffin out of bounds.
Good hustle right there by Washington.
Well, you know, this is a classic Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference matchup of 2 charter members. Iona's got the all-time winningest program in terms of win percentage. 62% of the time they win. And, you know, back in the 80s, before the league really expanded as Casimir misfires, these were the 2 teams that helped to headline this league along with LaSalle. And Iona. Again, they go inside to the big man. Welton kicks it back out this time. On the pull-up, and Iona off the mark. Clean look by Crawford, and the Gales are on the board.
It all starts with dribble penetration into the lane. What the Gales do is they spread you out, and if you don't keep guys in front of you and keep them out the lane, then your defense gets sucked in. That's when they hit so many of those open threes.
And Iona finds a soft spot along the baseline and connects.
Got to move the basketball against the zone, whether it's the straight 2-3 or the matchup will give you different looks out of it. But ball movement is what gets you those good looks.
Well, this series dates all the way back to the 1946-47 season, long before the MAAC was formed. Iona has won, though, 6 of the last 7 meetings between these 2 clubs. From the head of the key, Crawford 1 for 2 now. St. Peter's with it up by 3. And, you know, I mentioned that 2011 championship game that John Dunn and the Peacocks won. Who'd they beat in the finals? Iona.
These 2 teams met in the very first MAAC championship final back at the Meadowlands back in the day.
Who's tournament MVP that year? Have you got that in front of you? I know you're fishing through the record book.
I couldn't find it. And matter of fact, I didn't even get that one confirmed, but
I think I got it right here.
I remember being at that game.
Because Uncle Pat was coaching?
Yep. So
Rory Grimes was the MVP in '82.
There you go.
As Iona won in overtime over St. Peter's 66-61. Much for 2.
So my memory's not completely shot, despite the fact that we've been here for a long time so far this weekend.
And that was a long time ago. You must have been still in high school back.
Yep, absolutely.
Welton to the left hand. That's a nifty looking shot.
Yeah, usually he's just straight post-ups with his back to the basket, which shows you he can put it to the floor as well.
6 quick points. I enjoyed during the press conference for Iona following their quarterfinal victory, the exchange between Tim Cluess and said Casimir. Of course, Casimir coming off of the 3 surgeries. He lit it up in their quarterfinal win. Coach says, yeah, I expect him to score 22 again. We shall see. Gales down 3 early.
It's knowing that you will always compete against the best, while making you become the best that you can be. It's about joining a family with a storied history, where athletics and academics are held to the highest of standards. It's about creating the future leaders of tomorrow, all with the focus on one goal: graduation. It's the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Want to achieve more than you ever thought possible? At Canisius College, you can. A Canisius education is packed with extraordinary opportunities like top-level scientific research, global service experiences, and real-world connections. Want to intern at a Fortune 500 company? Want to get into the best medical and law schools? Want to be a champion for social justice? You can. Here.
I'm in there as Katie.
I'll call you later. Or, no, I won't. I'll text you because, what am I, your dad? Don't stay out too late.
Yeah, just text me.
Thank you. Get home safe. This must be what Antonio Brown feels like when he's dancing in the end zone.
Huh. This must be how Lucas felt when he finally got Katie's number.
Pepsi.
MAAC basketball is brought to you by Geico. I love New York. New York State. It's all here. It's only here. Visit iloveny.com. Life Storage. It's your life. Store it with care. And UHY, the leading choice for professional tax and business consulting services. UHY. Experience the next level of service. Alongside Rob Kennedy, I'm Doug Sherman. St. Peter's leading Iona early. And Rob, I should give Fordham a little bit of love, too. I'm talking about the early days of the MAAC back in the 80s. Fordham won the second league title back in 1983. Made it to the finals in 84, where they lost to Steve Birch Sr. and the Gales. Of course, Fairfield had back-to-back championships in 86 and 87 with our friend Mitch Bonaguro at the helm. Holy Cross also in the league at that time. But really, these two programs have as much history as anybody with this conference.
Yeah, you think back to those Fordham teams with Tom Penders.
Yep.
Always been so many terrific coaches in this league. Been a fertile proving ground for guys that have been able to go on and have great success at the high major level.
Devon Baker, just like in last night's quarterfinal, right to the bucket and banking it home.
Yeah, he might be a 6'1" guard, but he gets a lot of his points in the paint, whether it's on drives, straight drives, putting it to the floor, or he'll also take other guards inside and post them up.
Jordan Washington draws contact. Remember, Army used to be in this league as well, and I looked it up a couple of years ago. I was thinking, was Coach K still at Army when they were in the MAAC? And the answer is no. He had left for Duke before Army was in the MAAC. So he never coached in this conference, but there's another illustration of this cradle of coaches the conference has been. And none has done better than Iona. Of course, Jim Galvano on to North Carolina State. Your uncle Pat Kennedy went on to great things at Florida State and beyond. And well, I'll let you know better the list. You know all those guys going all the way back.
Certainly Tim Welsh had great success as well at Providence and now with ESPN.
Timmy won a couple of MAAC Coach of the Year awards before leaving for Providence.
Kevin Willard did a good job of rebuilding the program and then has done well at Seton Hall. It's like the Pirates with another big win yesterday have certainly got themselves where they want to be come Selection Sunday.
And you know what? This run of 8 straight 20-win seasons for Iona, the first one was under Coach Willard.
Wow, that is a big rebound there by Deshaun Muck. Forget how long he is sometimes, right?
He is explosive, long, and knock down shots. Here's Sam Cassell Jr. and John Sevier, their two fifth-year graduate transfers onto the floor. Didn't get much out of either yesterday, especially Sevier. His final stat line in the quarterfinal win almost made it like he wasn't out there. Speaking of Fordham, Sevier, the Fordham transfer. Alternate possession. It'll stay down at this end. And yet Tim Cluse is named to the list, and he is third all-time in MAAC history in terms of wins behind Joe Mihalik and Jimmy Patsos. So pretty good company that he keeps.
Yep, Jim McDermott, former commissioner of the MAAC conference, the top of that list. And then Jeff Rulin, the all-time great player and a terrific coach here at Iona as well. Took the Gales to 2 NCAA tournaments during his time.
St. Peter's with the basketball, leading by 3. Here's Baker. Nice job defensively to keep him in front by E.J. Crawford. Now with 5 to shoot. High ball screen. Portley in trouble. Sam Idowu just had to put it up. All he could catch was the glass, and so it's a shot clock violation.
Gales that time in man-to-man defense and a good defensive possession.
Well, St. Peter's has been to the NCAA 3 times as representatives of the MAAC, the most recent by Coach Dunn's hand in 2011. They also went back in 91 and 95.
Better defense on the ball that possession against the weave.
Now Idowu backed off. I thought they could have had severely punished in that corner on a double team.
Yeah, he was in the dead corner. They let him out.
Casimir, contact, offensive foul.
Well, that is basically the microcosm of what St. Peter's does. It's just quarter court, man-to-man defense. They don't mix things up too much. They do play ball screens differently. They'll double down and get you in some different looks when they send the second guy, but it's very simple and effective, just tough physical man-to-man defense.
Patterson on the floor with Griffin. In they go to Baker. Spins around Bessick, who recovers nicely.
It's a little different when you're posting up Bessick and not one of those other guards.
Now that's as much a jump shot by definition as you will ever see.
He elevates. He also has the ball high. It's really hard to get out and challenge it. Gales get so many of their threes dug in transition and on dribble drive and kickouts. That's where they get the majority of it.
Much poked it away from Portland. Much dangerous pass, and the Gales catch a break. Talking about all the history in the record books with these two programs. We said Iona has now reached the semifinals 7 times in a row. You know, the all-time league record is held by St. Peter's 8 times in a row back in the 80s, from 82 to 89. Iona has matched the Siena run from 97 to 03 that was guided by Paul Hewitt, Louis Orr, and Rob Lanier. 3 more points. John Dunn not happy with his defense. Much with 8 of the 13 for the Gales. Welton. Bessick standing his ground. Great job defensively on the block. Castell Jr. got tripped inadvertently by Griffin. No call. Everybody seems to be okay. Casimir with 8 on the shot clock. And a pushing foul along the baseline that sent John Sevier flying. Deshaun Much off to a fast start. The junior from Rochester, New York, helps the Gales to a 3-point lead.
Tim, you guys have been able to find some threes last couple of possessions. What's the difference been?
I just think we have to flow the ball and understand where they're helping from and try to find that guy. And I think we've been playing way too far off the line offensively where, you know, the guy's being open, but he's 10 feet off the three-point line, so then we have to dribble it again. And we're not taking the pull-ups off of screens. And I think that's an area we have to attack. If you keep going, they're waiting for you at the rim, and they'll take charges like they've already done.
All right, thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this round answer complete your attention to the court. It is time for tonight's I Love York three-point contest. Each contestant on 6 picks being ready for 3-pointers as they can. Scoring push-ups is winner. That's 4 votes tonight's contestants, TJ and Kevin. All right, contestant, your 60 seconds starts right now. TJ, stroking it right to the 8.
13-10, the Gales with the early lead over the Peacocks. And let's hear from Iona head coach Tim Kloos.
Tim, you guys have been able to find some threes last couple of possessions. What's the difference been?
I just think we have to flow the ball and understand where they're helping from and try to find that guy. And I think we've been playing way too far off the line offensively where, you know, the guy's being open, but he's 10 feet off the three-point line, so then we have to dribble it again. And we're not taking the pull-ups off of screens. And I think that's an area we have to attack. If you keep going, they're waiting for you at the rim, and they'll take charges like they've already done.
All right, thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Iona's been led offensively by Deshaun Much so far. Last 3 games coming into tonight, he was averaging 15.7, which is double his season average. Scored 10 in the win over Ryder last night, and he's got 8 already. This for a young man who has bounced around a little bit. Played at Redemption Christian Academy in Massachusetts before going to the University at Buffalo. Played a couple of years for Bobby Hurley, and then transferred to Iona. And Rob, he was preseason third-team all-conference, all sorts of talent, and he can be that X-factor kind of guy.
Yeah, much like Nico Clariff, he left the team for a little bit, got himself back in, and he was coming off the bench. But the last 3 games, as you said, he's been playing very well, and he's been doing it from the starting lineup. We talked about it yesterday. Great story. After Iona struggled coming down the stretch when they lost 4 out of their last 7 in the regular season, Tim Kloos got upset at his first team. He didn't think they were competing, playing hard. So in practice, the second team was beating him up. He said, you know what, we're going to play winners. We're going to go 3 straight days. Whoever ends up winning, that's who's going to end up starting. And that's exactly what he did. It got Much into the starting lineup because they were able to hold serve and win against the first team. And he's really responded.
Washington back in there defending, and that's another nice job.
Yeah, Welton had a couple of scores early on, but since then the post defense has really tightened up for Iona.
Much rising up again, and he's already into double figures.
And as you said, Doug, he gets off the floor. He rises up. He's got a high release of that three-point shot. Really hard to go out and challenge it because it releases at such a high point.
11 points for the junior out of Gates Chili High School in Rochester, New York.
That's already the 4th made 3 for Iona. When they hit 10 or more, they are just about unstoppable. 18-1 on the season when they hit 10 or more threes.
There's 3 back for Iona, junior from Springfield, Virginia, with 5 of the 13 points for St. Peter's.
And that was a huge stat for John Dunn coming in. He said, we got to defend the three-point line or we're in trouble. In each of the 2 games in the regular season won by Iona, the Gales were above that 10 made 3 field goals mark.
Washington, the quick release. First bucket for the senior out of Jamaica, Queens. A unanimous member of the 2017 first team all-conference here in the MAAC. Nick Griffin. Boy, he has a pretty stroke. 3rd best in the league in accuracy, and he buries his first attempt tonight.
Yeah, and he's the one guy that can get it off quickly. Saw him run off the down screen right into it.
He comes out of the AAU program, Team Takeover. And they have produced a lot of talent. He started his college career, George Washington, before transferring to St. Peter's. There's Casimir.
Iona into the 1-3-1, nearly gets the turnover and does on the backcourt violation.
You can see Deshaun Much just sizing Griffin up.
And how about his length at the point of that 1-3-1?
Man, I would not want to be a ball handler trying to get around him. Casimir out. And Ricky McGill comes back in. And in for the first time for St. Peter's, Quinn Taylor. Chaz Patterson defending Much. Washington. Welton kept it alive, and Patterson's got it. Washington goes to the floor and comes up with a steal.
How about the quickness to get around on that post up and poke it away?
For a man his size to have the quickness he does, he is quite an asset playing basketball.
And again, the Gales very active out of the matchup zone.
Sam Cassell Jr. Welton draws the bump on Washington, who's called for the foul.
And that's where he got just a little lazy. You saw the great effort on the last defensive possession, but that time a little lazy, picks up the foul.
So, Mr. Harris, we have your fingerprints on the safe, a photo of you opening the safe, a post using the hashtag #JustRobbedTheSafe. So, what are we supposed to think?
Switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance.
Excellent point. Case dismissed.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
There's one state that has more ski mountains to choose from than any other in the country. And that's not the only thing you can only find in New York State. You can find it all, only in New York. New York, it's all here. It's only here. Plan your winter getaway at iloveny.com.
NCAA March Madness heads back to Buffalo later this month, March 16th and 18th. And if you go right now to ncaa.com/MVB tickets, you can be part of the fun. Go to that website. You can buy tickets and also check out the hospitality options. Where else would you want to be than Western New York for a little March Madness later this month? Rob, you said you're going to the Garden.
For the regionals,
the
East Regional will be down in the Garden. Nothing better than watching college basketball and MSG.
We had ourselves some good basketball here at the Times Union Center in Albany again this year, and especially our first semifinal, which was a stunner. Monmouth squandered a 17-point second-half lead. Nico Clarith, the Siena sophomore, had the game of his life, really the half of his life.
Yeah.
And the Saints will play the winner of this one tomorrow night for the title.
Only played a couple of minutes in the first half, missed his only shot attempt. So you knew he was just kind of laying in wait to go get 27 in the second half.
You know, he has, as a lot of great players do, play with supreme confidence, and you always got to feel like the next shot's going to fall. But I wonder if, you know, put a gun to his head, did he think he was capable of doing something like that tonight, especially on a bulky ankle?
Well, I think he thought he was capable of it. I'm not sure anybody else did, you know? And certainly nothing in the first 20 minutes would have led you to believe that that was going to happen.
Well, he only played 3 minutes in the first half.
Washington nearly got away with one. This is when he's got the first foul where he's just got to play smart, play within himself, and not pick up that second because it gets him right to the bench.
Patterson, nice looking rotation on that release. Taylor steals the rebound and then gets fouled by McGill. Well, McGill's coming off a tremendous performance in the win over Ryder last night. A career-high 25 points, 6 assists, and again 4 steals. He leads the MAAC in steals. Didn't get Defensive Player of the Year award, but certainly among the better defenders in the MAAC.
And only 1 turnover as well. So that's about as good a stat line as you're going to get from your point guard.
Weish's pass kicked by Cassell Jr. And so St. Peter's will keep it out of bounds on the baseline. Much back in. And Crawford takes a seat. Bam Idowu down in the block, kind of now set the ball screen. Back to Idowu. It's the second time it seems like here this weekend for a very good three-point shooter where he's had a really ugly looking shot.
Yeah, there was a lot of air under that one. That almost came down wet at hang time, but you're right. 42% on the season, so he can be a pick and pop, but wouldn't know by that release.
Washington posting up, but Deshaun Much, who has been hot, a little too much perhaps on that one.
And a good challenge by Chaz Patterson, the defensive player of the year in the MAAC this year, to get out and bother that shot. Once Much hit his first couple, they made the defensive switch, and now Patterson's got the assignment on Much.
Here goes Patterson on offense, dump it off Idowu. Doesn't miss from there. Well, I liked your rationale that you mentioned a couple of times, Rob, on the air about why you thought Chaz Patterson should have been, as he was, the MAAC Defensive Player of the Year because he's the best defender on the best defensive team in the league.
And he's also so versatile defensively, can guard anybody 1 through 4.
Yeah.
And whoever gets hot, that's who John Dunn then takes him and tries to put him on so that he doesn't stay hot. And he does a lot of other things, too. A lot of little things on the offensive end. Nice dribble penetration and then the bounce pass. Defon Idowu.
All 3 Washington points have come at the line. Baker back. Taylor out.
And in the 2 games against Iona, Washington's played all right. He's had double-figure scoring games in both games, but he hasn't gone wild against them. Had just 15 last time out and 11 way back in December. You know, when you're getting ready to do the game, you always go and see how the teams matched up in their 2 games. But these 2 teams met once back on December 2nd. That's like 2 years ago, so who cares? You know, then their second matchup was way back at the end of January. So these teams are in different spots than they were when they met the 2 times in the regular season.
First game was a 14-point difference in Jersey City way back in early December. And then the second game, the rematch, went to overtime in New Rochelle, where the Gales prevailed 69-66.
And I would suspect when the MAAC now next year goes to 18 league games instead of 20, we may see the end of those early December matchups.
What do the rank and file among the head coaches in the league, the 11 of them, what do you think they feel about those early league games?
Oh, they don't like it.
They prefer not to.
Yeah, because, you know, it's twofold. It breaks up your non-conference schedule, and I think coaches like when those are kind of compartmentalized, right? And then the second thing is, you lose a game or 2 in December, your team may be completely different than it is by the time you get to the end of the year.
Didn't Monmouth split its 2 games in December? Didn't Monmouth have a loss early? And then their other loss was to these Peacocks on January 2nd until losing to Siena tonight.
Yeah, they got themselves in a 3-game losing streak. Started with the loss down at the Dean Dome and then lost back-to-back games to start things off in December to their 2 New Jersey rivals in Ryder and St. Pete. It's got sideways early on at the start of the league slate.
Under 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Iona sitting on a 2-point lead. Much wrap around. Bessick got hammered by Baker.
Those long arms allowed him to wrap all the way around the defender.
Gales by 2 over the Peacocks. Back to the Times Union Center right after this.
We see the world differently. Where some see challenge, we see opportunity. We use the lessons of the past to drive our vision of the future. We are a global gateway, a classroom and laboratory, retreat and home. We stand up, step forward, and fight the good fight to prepare tomorrow's leaders and visionaries. We are a Gale force that breaks down barriers to move the world.
There you go. Little dribble drive.
Feel the intensity of NCAA March Madness.
That's a three.
You've got to see it to believe it. The 2017 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship first and second rounds. March 16th and 18th at the Key Bank Center in Buffalo. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets for your seats today.
Fulfill your educational goals on a 22-acre private residential campus just minutes away from the world's economic, cultural, communications, and entertainment center, New York City. For more than 160 years, Manhattan College has promised a Lasallian Catholic education featuring 5 schools of study that challenge students to excel academically while providing career opportunities second to none. Find out what Manhattan College can promise your future.
Well, the women's side of the MAAC championships has come down to its final 2, and chalk prevailed. Quinnipiac, the regular season champ, will take on number 2 Ryder at 5 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. You can see that game on ESPNU. And the Bobcats seem to be the team to beat, but with the way Ryder played the final month plus of the season and the way they have been playing basketball, I don't think it would be that much of a stretch to think the Bronx could be cutting down the nets here at about 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
Yeah, Bronx picked to finish in 10th in the preseason, making their first ever MAAC championship game appearance.
Here on the men's side of the joint tournament, this is the second men's semifinal. Iona and St. Peter's playing for the right to face Siena. 9 o'clock tomorrow. And Bessick, the James Madison transfer, gets his first point. He played a couple of years for a gentleman who people in the MAAC are very familiar with, Matt Brady, the former Marist head coach, who was a star point guard at Siena, although that predated Siena being in the MAAC. But Matt Brady originally recruited Taylor Bessick out of Frankfurt High School in Philadelphia.
And he's a good change of pace for Jordan Washington. Washington obviously gives him a lot more scoring, but Bessick a very good post defense.
Here he is defending Welton. White from 23. And Sevier comes away with it. Casimir, step back 3. Rebound Baker. Seems like St. Peter's has been stuck on 20 for a while.
And they can do that. They can have long scoring droughts, trips up the floor where they don't score the basketball, but they don't become 10-0 runs because they get stops at the other end.
Yep.
And certainly so far, pace a big plus so far for St. Peter's. They'll certainly play this game in the 50s, 40s, 30s. They don't care.
Yeah.
Talking to Tim Cluse earlier, though, he said one of the keys for us is to be patient. We can't over-force pace. We've got to be efficient and effective in what we're doing. Yeah, we want to get up and down and certainly take advantage of opportunities out on the break, but we got to be patient to find those opportunities.
And that, to me, Rob, sounds like that can be a difficult balance to find.
And sometimes when you want to force pace, you try to pick up the defense, pressure up, and asked Tim about that. And he said the problem with St. Peter's, they don't bite into that. Even if you come and you pressure, they get the basketball back up. They're patient enough to reset, go ahead and run through their offense. So he said, you know, that's not the strength of our team.
Yeah.
And I also don't think it works against St. Peter's because you really can't speed them up.
The lane violation against Deshaun Much allows Welton to take the free throw again, and it costs Iona a point.
And you never know when those extra points are going to come back to haunt you. Think about our first semifinal game, and there was a technical foul to Josh James that didn't seem like that big a deal at the time, but the Hawks were going to be up by 6. Instead, it slowed things down. They knocked down both technical foul shots, cut the lead back down to 4, and then Siena made a run from there.
Iona remains stone cold from the floor. Portley to Welton. Bessick blocked it. Baker sneaks in for the ball.
Nice pass. How about that?
Wow.
That's a little inversion. The assist from your center to your point guard.
But you know, John Dunn has told both of us throughout the year that Welton has evolved into a very good passer out of the post, and we just saw it right there.
And when you become a good scorer in the post, you're going to get double teams, and so you've got to expand your game. He was able to do that.
Baker with another rebound.
And those two guys, Trevi Weiss as well as Welton, work on their game as much as anybody. Their off-season routine, they're always in the gym, and those two guys were under-recruited coming out of high school. Everybody looked at their games and focused in on some of the things that they couldn't do. All those guys have done is won more games in the MAAC than any other senior class in St. Peter's history.
And there you saw it. Welton with the offensive rebound off the Weiss penetration. Yeah, this senior class of Weiss, Welton, and Patterson is as accomplished as most any in St. Peter's history. The one thing lacking is a MAAC championship.
Yeah, they've won 44 games in the MAAC. Now, it's a little deceptive because you play more games than those real good St. Peter's teams in the early going into MAAC.
With 5 on the shot clock, we've got a foul on the entry pass.
Here's Welton feeling the double team. Nice wraparound to go find Trevi Weiss, and then Trevi Weiss on the nice drive, and there's the hustle, the effort from the big guy, Quadir Welton, and that's what both those guys do. They just outwork people.
Welton, a 6'8" senior from Philadelphia. Weiss, a 6'1" senior from Neptune, New Jersey. That foul was on Baker, his second. Neither team in the bonus. St. Peter's has been called for only 5 fouls. Iona has just 4. Cassell Jr. And there's Much with a foul. Now, the thing that impresses me as much as anything about Travis Weiss is that he always seems to be under control. And when everybody else, the other 9 people on the floor, may be going 100 miles an hour, he seems to be going 30 miles an hour and making good decisions. And with that, he leads the league in assist-to-turnover ratio.
Yeah, and he's always on balance and always seems to have 2 feet on the floor. Gets into the lane, he probes, doesn't leave his feet, doesn't make many bad decisions.
He's got the basketball with 10 on the shot clock. Around Much, and the finger roll. Timeout, Iona. 32nd timeout called by the Gales.
And a good timeout right there by Tim Cluse. It's the use it or lose it. He realized the ball's bounding. His team didn't realize that they had to go quickly to get the basketball to have an attempt. Here's Weiss again, probing, under control, on the floor until he needs to go score it. So the Gales, just everybody kind of turned, not paying attention to it. Well, coach was paying attention, and by taking the timeout, they've got 5.8, an opportunity to score one here. It's funny, Doug, you were just talking about St. Peter's stuck on 20 for a while. It was 24-20.
Yeah.
Well, they've gone on an 8-0 run since you said that, and a big part of it is defensive stops at the other end.
And that translates, Rob, no field goals in their last 9 shot attempts for Iona. They've gone without a field goal, forget this, 8 minutes, 49 seconds.
Well, the other thing Tim Cluse does on the timeout, you make sure that Washington was on the floor anyway, but now you can dictate where the basketball is going to go.
Cassell, Casimir, Much, Washington, and McGill are the 5 on the floor.
And they reset the clock to 6.2 seconds on the called timeout. So plenty of time for Iona. They only need about 2.2 to get the ball up the floor and get a shot.
McGill. Portley stole it. And then the foul call against McGill with 1.1 on the clock. Sixth team foul on McGill. And so let's see if St. Peter's can come up with a shot with 1.1 to play. Patterson. Welton turns, shoots. Trying to do his own mini version of Christian Laettner there. It is hard to believe that an Iona team averaging over 80 points per game could go the final 9 minutes or so of the half without a field goal, but St. Peter's is doing what St. Peter's does.
And certainly it would be surprising against anybody else, but as you said, that's what St. Peter's is built around, their defense and timely offense. Right now, pace favoring the Peacocks. What's up, Deshaun? Deshaun, you were able to find some early offense at the beginning of the game. Since then, it's really grinded down. What do you have to do to get some more flow?
We got to be patient, on offense. Stick to what we do. St. Peter's a real good defensive team. We just got to be patient, like I said.
When you play them, you're going to be in a grinder, and Coach is talking about being patient. That's sometimes easier said than done because you guys want to get up and down.
Right.
So how do you get yourselves going where you get some flow?
Take the opportunities that come to us rather than forcing, as I'm getting back to, being patient. If we got transition, get out and go. But if not, get in the set.
All right, thanks, Deshaun.
Right, thank you.
Quadir, you got touches early. We're posting up strong. Then you got away from you a little bit, but you guys didn't panic. How do you guys keep it where you guys don't get ahead of yourselves?
We're just trying to stay poised on offense and take our time and keep sharing the ball, being team first every game because we know we all need each other to win.
And a good matchup inside between two of the better posts in the league. That's a tough matchup against Jordan Washington. What do you have to do to try and contain him?
Trying to get him in foul trouble, get him out the game early, and just keep taking my time on my shots because I know he's very good. So just got to take my time and try to get him out the game.
All right, thanks, Quadir.
Thank you.
We're at halftime at the Times Union Center in Albany. St. Peter's in this second MAAC semifinal leads Iona by 4. A moment ago, Rob Kennedy caught up with Gales Jr. Deshaun Much.
Deshaun, you were able to find some early offense at the beginning of the game. Since then, it's really grinded down. What do you have to do to get some more flow?
We got to be patient, on offense. Stick to what we do. St. Peter's a real good defensive team. We just got to be patient, like I said.
When you play them, you're going to be in a grinder, and Coach is talking about being patient. That's sometimes easier said than done because you guys want to get up and down.
Right.
So how do you get yourselves going where you get some flow?
Take the opportunities that come to us rather than forcing, as I'm getting back to, being patient. If we got transition, get out and go. But if not, get in the set.
All right, thanks, Deshaun.
Right, thank you.
His 11 points lead the Gales, who have been offense challenged over the last several minutes of that first half. Here's what's on the line: a spot in the 9 o'clock Eastern MAAC title game tomorrow night that you can see on ESPN2. Should have a huge crowd here at the TU Center because the Siena Saints play here in this building. This is their home floor, and the Capital Region supports Siena like no other region for any other MAAC school. So wouldn't be a surprise if there were 10,000 people in the building tomorrow night. If you can't make it down, check it out again on ESPN2. We'll take another break as St. Peter's and Iona play for the spot opposite of Siena. 28-24, Peacocks at the break.
You must do the thing you think you cannot do.
The mind is everything. What you think, you become.
it is not best that we should all think alike.
He who learns but does not think is lost.
The main purpose of life is to live rightly, think rightly, act rightly.
Oh, the things you could think of if only you try.
There is Katie.
I'll call you later. Or, no, I won't. I'll text you because, what am I, your dad? Don't stay out too late.
Yeah, just text me.
Thank you. Get home safe. This must be what Antonio Brown feels like when he's dancing in the end zone.
Huh. This must be how Lucas felt when he finally got Katie's number.
Pepsi.
Carve your own path or prepare for the next surge in your career at Monmouth University. Located along New Jersey's coastline, this beautiful campus is just 1 hour from New York and Philadelphia. Monmouth University offers a welcoming and dynamic setting for student development, innovative academic programs, nationally ranked Division I sports, and renowned faculty make this private university a great place to find your future. Take root, make waves, and become a part of something bigger. See the difference at monmouth.edu.
Oh, that's lovely.
So graceful.
The corkscrew spin, flawless. His signature move, the Flying Dutchman. Poetry in motion.
And there it is, the baby bird.
Breathtaking.
A sumo wrestler figure skating? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much money Heather saved by switching to Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Oh, yes. There you go. Little dribble drive.
Feel the intensity of NCAA March Madness.
That's a three.
You've got to see it to believe it. The 2017 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship first and second rounds. March 16th and 18th at the Key Bank Center in Buffalo. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets for your seats today.
Whittier Welton's 12 points lead St. Peter's at halftime to a 28-24 lead in the MAAC semifinals. Earlier this week here in Albany, the major award winners for 2017 were announced by the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, and let's catch up on every single one of the winners.
The 2016-17 The Rock MAAC Men's Basketball Coach of the Year, King Rice from Monmouth University. Rice led the Hawks to an 18-2 MAAC and 26-5 overall record. Monmouth is the first team in conference history to win 18 MAAC games in a single season and is currently on a 16-game winning streak heading into the MAAC tournament. The 2016-17 The Rock MAAC Men's Basketball Coach of the Year, King Rice of Monmouth University. The 2016-17 MAAC Men's Defensive Player of the Year, Chaz Patterson from St. Peter's University. Patterson anchored the Peacocks' defense, which held opponents to a league-best 61.6 points per game. The 6'3" senior guard ranked second in the MAAC with 1.8 steals per game and 53 total steals. The MAAC Men's Defensive Player of the Year, Chaz Patterson, St. Peter's University. The 2016-17 MAAC Men's Basketball Sixth Player of the Year, Austin Tillman from Monmouth University. The 6'1" junior guard averaged 6.7 points in 20 minutes played per game. He appeared in 30 games for the Hawks this season and posted a career-high 21 points against Marist on January 8th. The Wilmington, Delaware native shot 49.5% from the field and 74% from the free throw line. The MAAC Sixth Player of the Year, Austin Tillman, Monmouth University.
And there again, a summation of what you just saw. Justin Robinson, the headliner, second year in a row, Player of the Year. Unanimous selection, King Rice, Head Coach of the Year, Mikey Dixon, Chaz Patterson, and Austin Tillman. We're at the intermission between Iona and St. Peter's for a spot in the MAAC championship game tomorrow night. Back with more of our halftime report. We'll show you first half highlights and get Rob Kennedy's expert analysis when we come back to Albany.
If you can play in the MAAC.
We pledge to respect everyone.
We pledge to support the LGBTQ athletes.
We pledge to create a safe and inclusive environment. If you can throw,
You can throw.
If you can shoot,
you can shoot.
If you can swim, you can swim.
If you can run.
You can run.
For everyone at Canisius,
Fairfield,
Iona,
Manhattan. Marist.
Monmouth,
Niagara,
Quinnipiac, Ryder,
St. Peter's,
Siena.
If you can play in the MAAC.
At Niagara University, we believe that whatever you do, you should do it with all of your heart. That before you can fly, you need to be encouraged to spread your wings. That having a few great professors can make all the difference. That while pursuing a degree fit for the 21st century, you should learn a little about yourself too. And that feeling prepared can take you places you never thought you'd go. Are you ready to feel the power of Niagara University?
If you want to celebrate winter in a palace of ice, there's only one place to go. And that's not the only thing you can only find in New York State. You can find it all, only in New York. New York, it's all here, it's only here. Plan your winter getaway at iloveny.com.
There is Katie.
I'll call you later. Or, no, I won't. I'll text you because, what am I, your dad? Don't stay out too late.
Yeah, just text me.
Thank you. Get home safe. This must be what Antonio Brown feels like when he's dancing in the end zone.
Huh. This must be how Lucas felt when he finally got Katie's number.
Pepsi.
It's knowing that you will always compete against the best, while making you become the best that you can be. It's about joining a family with a storied history, where athletics and academics are held to the highest of standards. It's about creating the future leaders of tomorrow, all with the focus on one goal: graduation. It's the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
At Quinnipiac University, learning has no boundaries. The world is our classroom. Learning is more than just seeing new places. It's experiencing cultures, exploring professions, and making friends. It's exchanging ideas and pursuing your passions, here and there. Take a seat in our world-sized classroom. How far you go is up to you.
28-24, St. Peter's 20 minutes away from going back to the MAAC championship game for the first time since 2011. Welcome back, everybody. The defending champs from Iona down 4. And Rob, what do they need to do to get their offense going? Because they've been stuck without a field goal for the last 9 minutes of game action.
Well, they got to play through Jordan Washington again a little bit, and then they just got to get some pace. We saw in the quarterfinals, they were flying around on both ends of the floor. Defensively, at the beginning of this half, they were flying around. I thought they defended well, but on the offensive end, they were a little stagnant, unlike the Gales.
Okay, let's show you the highlights. As they were, we really only had 2 players put up any sort of points.
Well, Deshaun Much has been doing that as of late. You mentioned it, Doug. He gets off the floor on that jump shot, really hard to guard, and he was able to find a couple early offense jump shots, and that's where they get him, in transition and dribble penetration. They got those early in the game, and then St. Peter's cleaned it up. They did a better job guarding the basketball, so you didn't get drive and kickouts like you saw right there.
Meanwhile, for St. Peter's, leading the way, as you'd expect, Quadir Welch.
Well, they got him plenty of touches early on. That was the very first possession of the ball game. They force-fed him early to try and go right at Jordan Washington, try to get him in foul trouble and get him off the floor. They're able to do that. Quadir Welton showing you that he doesn't just score with his back to the basket. Nice move, and he's filling his stat sheet. Gets an assist right here. Going to get into the action on the offensive glass, doing a little bit of everything to give the Peacocks a 4-point lead here at the half.
First half stats brought to you by I Love New York. New York State, it's all here, it's only here. St. Peter's shooting pretty well, 48% from the floor. Iona taking care of the basketball, only 4 turnovers. What do you take from that, Rob?
Well, St. Peter's averages under 11 turnovers per game, so they were a little sloppy with the basketball and turned into an 8-0 advantage in points off turnovers, but they dominated the points in the paint. 14-0. They've got to get Jordan Washington, Iona does, back involved offensively inside.
Iona missed its last 9 shots of the first half. Second half coming up from Albany. 28-24 our score. Welcome back to Champ Week here on ESPN3. St. Peter's leading by 4 as we get set for the start of the second half. In the meantime, let's hear from Rob Kennedy and Quadir Welton.
Quadir, you got touches early. We're posting up strong. Then you got away from you a little bit, but you guys didn't panic. How do you guys keep it where you guys don't get ahead of yourselves?
We're just trying to stay poised on offense and take our time and keep sharing the ball, being team first every game, because we know we all need each other to win.
And a good matchup inside between 2 of the better posts in the league. That's a tough matchup against Jordan Washington. What do you have to do to try and contain him?
Trying to get him in foul trouble, get him out the game early, and just keep taking my time on my shots, because I know he's very good, so just got to take my time and try to get him out the game.
All right, thanks, Quadir.
Thank you.
John Dunn's team riding a 7-game winning streak. Iona, meanwhile, in its last 9 games, has 1-1, lost 1, 1-1, lost 1, 1-1, lost 1, 1-1, lost 1, and 1-1 in the quarterfinals last night. Does that mean they're going to lose one here tonight, Rob?
Well, Tim Cluse is hoping that it's not that pattern, but the pattern they had just before that started. That's when they won 6 in a row.
Yep. Well, if they could win 6 games in a row coming off of this win one, lose one, they'll go on to the Sweet 16.
There you go. Sign them up.
St. Peter's with the basketball to begin the second half. White, Griffin, Iona, Patterson, and Welton. Nnamdi Iona.
Well, good action there, good execution in their half-court set, and Iona, good three-point shooter, so when he ball fakes and shows you the basketball, you got to get out and challenge.
John Sevier gets the start in the second half for Iona, as does Sam Cassell Jr. Out there with Deshaun Much, who feeds Jordan Washington and spins right around Welton, but a travel is called.
Well, let's see if Iona tries to pick up with a little full-court pressure to force some pace. And indeed they do. I think that's a good idea. This game is just a little bit too slow for Iona's liking right now. Ooh, close to a backcourt.
Much deflected that out of bounds. St. Peter's will keep. Also Cedric Casimir starting again for Iona here in the second half. He had a quiet first half, only a couple of points. And Ricky McGill coming off the bench, presumably, because he's not in the starting lineup.
Yeah, this is a guy who averages the most minutes on the season for the team, coming off a 25-point performance.
Welton off a terrific feed. He's now got 14.
How many times do you think in the 4 years they've played together somebody's called Weiss to Welton?
Weiss is top 5 all-time in career assists at St. Peter's, and a good number of them have gone to his running mate, Mr. Welton. Washington is fouled by Welton, and Iona still can't buy a bucket.
Coming off the handoff becomes a pick and roll as Jordan Washington goes to challenge. There's nobody there to pick up Quadir Welton. Not sure that Washington needed to give that much help on that, right? His defender basically had Weiss in front of him. He was right there. Sometimes you can overhelp. That was a good example of it.
Yeah. And Weiss will not be remembered necessarily in the same sentence as Keedron Clark in terms of great St. Peter's guards, but they have more similarities than you might think. They're the only Peacocks ever with over 1,000 career points and to finish top 5 assists and top 10 in steals in Peacocks history. They get it done in much different ways. 15 on the shot clock. Peacocks fortunate to keep.
And that's why I like the pressure defense for Iona, because it forces St. Peter's to play a little quicker.
White this time calls his own number.
But after you get out of the pressure defense, then you got to guard for the possession in the man or zone, doesn't matter, in the quarter court once you get back there. It's not all just about coming up with the steal. You then got to be able to transition to play smart D.
Sevier for 2. First points of the MAAC tournament for the Fordham transfer. He played 18 scoreless minutes last night, took only 1 shot.
This from a guy that scored over 1,250 points in his college career.
Welton called for the offensive foul.
A nice job. You talked about it, how he always stays under control. Trevi Weiss gets himself into the lane, and there's a tough, deep, guarded, challenged 2-point shot. But Iona has not been able to find many good looks in the last 10 minutes of play.
Yeah, that's their only field goal during that stretch to speak of. And they go to Washington. Money in the bank for number 23.
And their first points in the paint of the ball game. They got to keep force feeding. They got to figure out a way to get Jordan Washington more involved.
Off the turnover. McGill back into the game. Cassell called for the ball, got it, and buried the triple.
Well, much like they did in the first half, not only forcing turnovers, but turning them into points at the other end.
And so now Sevier and Cassell, who came off the bench in the first half, start the second half, have each come up with their first points tonight. Welton. Cassell Jr. off to McGill, up to Sevier for 3, and the Gales are getting going.
And John Dunn needs to call a timeout because the Gales, just like that, changed the pace of the game and have changed the score.
Well, you called it, Rob. Little pressure defense by the Gales coming out of the halftime locker room. It's helped to get the offense started. Iona's right back in it, up 1.
So, Mr. Harris, we have your fingerprints on the safe, a photo of you opening the safe, a post using the hashtag #JustRobbedTheSafe. So, what are we supposed to think?
Switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance.
Excellent point. Case dismissed.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
pass. There you go. Little dribble drive.
Feel the intensity of NCAA March Madness.
That's a three.
You've got to see it to believe it. The 2017 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship first and second rounds. March 16th and 18th at the Key Bank Center in Buffalo. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets for your seats today.
There's Katie.
I'll call you later. Or, no, I won't. I'll text you because, what am I, your dad? Don't stay out too late.
Just text me.
Thank you. Get home safe. This must be what Antonio Brown feels like when he's dancing in the end zone.
This must be how Lucas felt when he finally got Katie's number.
Pepsi.
35-34, a run by the Gales has given them a 1-point lead over St. Peter's. And how quickly things change around here, Rob. They couldn't buy a bucket for 10 minutes of game action, and now they look like Iona again.
Yep, and certainly good job by Tim Kluse to pick up in full court pressure and try and create a little more pace to the ball game. His team has responded. Remember, this is a St. Peter's team that does not turn the basketball over. Top 25 in the country at less than 11 turnovers per game, but they have kicked it around here tonight.
Well, St. Peter's leads the MAAC in a number of categories. Points allowed, field goal percentage defense, 3-point field goal percentage, turnover margin, and defensive rebounds. At the offensive end, Griffin misfires. Washington gives chase, and it's McGill who comes away with it, giving it back to the big fella.
Well, their defense is what has created the pace for them on the offensive end.
11 unanswered points for the Gales. Severe gets called for the foul. And that takes us to our first media timeout of the second half. How will the St. Peter's Peacocks adjust? Now down 3.
If you want to celebrate winter in a palace of ice, there's only one place to go. And that's not the only thing you can only find in New York State. You can find it all, only in New York. New York, it's all here, it's only here. Plan your winter getaway at iloveny.com.
We are St. Peter's University, a place where students who are eager to learn are taught by people who care, on a campus designed for both to thrive. We're proud to offer incredible learning opportunities and life-changing experiences, and that means our students are prepared to succeed in their fields, in their communities, and all over the world. Get to know St. Peter's University, the Jesuit University of New Jersey.
Back inside the Times-Union Center in downtown Albany, hosting the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Championships again this year. It's the 18th time over the past 28 years that these teams have made the trip upstate. For St. Peter's coming from Jersey City, New Jersey, and for Iona making the drive up from New Rochelle, New York. And the Peacocks with the ball, trying to snap an 11-0 run put on the board by the Gales. Antoine Portley has come in. He is capable of putting points on the board. Kevon Baker now with it. And the former Houston Cougar left alone, thinks about it. Washington begged him to shoot it. He did misfire.
He's begging him to shoot it. Baker didn't want to take the bait. Baker's a good outside shooter on the season, 44% from 3, but didn't look like he had the confidence to take that shot.
Do you think that was a calculated move by Washington, who's going to have a chance for 3? Was it a calculated move by Washington, or did he lose sight of the fact that Baker's a very good three-point shooter?
No, I think he didn't want to come out and challenge that far out. But he's certainly not afraid to go challenge on the offensive glass.
And mix it up.
Much like the quarterfinal game, Washington a non-factor in the first half and coming alive here in the second. Had 16 in the quarterfinal win against Rider, 14 of those in the second half.
Here tonight, Robbie had no field goals in the first half and now 13 total points very early on here in the second. Washington is 4th in the MAAC in points per game, 5th in rebounds per game, and he draws the charge. Well, that was the I Love New York key matchup we talked about off the top. Welton and Washington going head-to-head. Welton has just picked up his 3rd personal foul, and this matchup again may wind up ultimately dictating the winner of this semifinal.
And Welton's the guy that was winning that matchup early in the game. Certainly in the first half, he completely outplayed him. But in the second half, Jordan Washington has changed that script.
No doubt. And so Quadir Welton takes a seat with 3 personals. Sam Idowu has come in, and immediately the Gales get a layup.
And they're just playing through the big guy.
Ricky McGill's first bucket makes it 42-34, and the run continues. 17 unanswered points, and Rob Kennedy, I never cease to be amazed how games can change so quickly.
Yeah, and sometimes it's an adjustment, sometimes it's just somebody coming out and doing something spectacular. It was a combination of both here. It was the adjustment to get up into the full court pressure, and it seemed to wake the Gales up. Got them reminded, like, look, we've got to play at that quicker pace.
Yeah.
We saw it in the last game. You know, the game's just going on. Looks like the Saints are about to pack it in. And Nico Clarith just throws 3 straight threes in, and the next thing you know is you got a ball game. It can change that quickly. That's why coaches are always on edge throughout the game.
Right. Someone like me is always quick with 5 minutes to go. Hey, you're up 14. Why don't you start resting, guys? I do get that. I understand, because it's a zero-sum industry, and no matter how good a job Tim Kluse has done today and throughout the season, and no matter how good a job John Dunn has done this year and throughout the season, the reality is one of them is going to be labeled a loser tonight as the result of their night's work. Samuel Idowu snaps that long run and gets St. Peter's back on the board.
And gets Jordan Washington tagged with another foul here late as well. Again, Washington comes and challenges and gets late for the second challenge. Both times he's overhelped on Trevi Weiss a little bit.
Second foul on Washington. You and I both struggled a little bit with Samuel Idowu's name tonight. Usually I think we're okay with him,
exactly.
But he's gotten us both.
I apologize.
I do too. Sophomore from Brooklyn. Now has 5 points. Draws the Peacocks back to within 5.
Here's where St. Peter's got to get back down on the defensive end. Lock down and make it more difficult for Iona.
McGill, catch and shoot 3. Too strong. Here comes Travis Weiss. Looks for a trailer. It's Portley. Good look, just couldn't finish. Cassell Jr. And Weiss just bats it up off the glass. Idowu gets the rebound. Three-point bucket, and here come the Peacocks.
Well, you go behind the screen because you figure Weiss, who's gotten into the lane all game long, he's going to try to get there again. Instead, able to tee it up. He had plenty of time to eye that 3.
Washington draws the contact, and Idowu gets the foul.
Well, he had his hands straight up, but he was walking in and underneath them, and because he was walking in, that's where the contact was created. Good call.
Will Jordan Washington get a look in an NBA Summer League? Does he have that sort of chance coming up here in 2017, Rob?
I believe he will, because he's got the size and athleticism, and he's got some numbers as well, but he can do some stuff that a lot of guys his size can't.
Well, Iona had 3 of its own in the NBA Summer League last year. None of the 3 made rosters this year. 2 are overseas, and David Lowry playing in the D-League. Iona's most recent NBA player, Scott Machado, the brilliant point guard who led the nation in assists per game for Iona. He was some of the talent, just one of the talented players who Tim Kluse inherited when he took over after Coach Willard left for Seton Hall.
Yeah, he inherited him at Iona, but he was also his high school coach early on in his career out at St. Mary's. So he just kind of got him back, I guess.
A lot of contact on that sequence. We get the foul off the ball against Much. And that was a match made in heaven in terms of styles with Kluse and Machado.
No question about that. Machado finished up his high school career at St. Benedict's, played for Dan Hurley, coach at URI. How about that win last night for Rhode Island?
Wow.
Keep their at-large hopes alive. Block shot at the buzzer to force overtime, and then they made good on the extra opportunity, beating Davidson in a game that they had to have.
Foul on White. Well, it is Champ Week. There was a thriller today in the Patriot League in the semis. Boston University and Lehigh went to double overtime, and Lehigh wound up winning that game. It's a fun time of year.
Yeah, see Kempton with a couple of big finishes late.
He was blocking shots all over the place.
One of those active 2,000-point scorers in the country that a lot of people don't know about. They know his dad, Tim Kempton, but his son, a pretty darn good player in his own right.
John Sevier, all 8 of his points have come since the break, making his coach look smart for putting him back into the starting lineup. Adewu dives to the hole. He's got McGill trying to defend him, but his teammates go the other way to Baker. Adewu says, I'm going to get that ball in here. Portley, good ball fake. Patterson again keeps the ball alive for St. Peter's.
Somebody's got to take one of those open looks.
How many shot fakes on that possession?
Now, there are a lot, but every once in a while, if you're open, you got to be able to step in and make a shot. Little tentative on that possession for the Peacocks.
Sevier not tentative.
That was not a good shot.
Step back 2. Baker just soars for the rebound.
Wow.
He's 6'1". Besic is 6'9". And Besic never had a chance. We'll step away with 10:50 remaining in regulation.
John, you had Iona right where you wanted. The pace was going your way. What changed?
Yeah, they started mucking the game up like Canisius did the other day. And, when we have numbers against their pressure, we have to attack with confidence. But, listen, we want to get the ball up and play with tempo. It doesn't mean we have to shoot it quick. And then we had a couple of turnovers, and then they got us out in transition. And once they make 1 or 2 threes and they're feeling good and they're spraying it, then they become really, really good. So, we just got to get to the point where we're getting a little bit better with our ball screen defense, get more pressure on that passer, get better with the transition defense, keep it low turnover, and we'll have a shot at the end.
All right, thanks, John.
Thank you.
Iona 47, St. Peter's 40. The winner gets Siena tomorrow night for the MAAC championship. Let's go over to Rob with Peacocks head coach John Dunn.
John, you had Iona right where you wanted. The pace was going your way. What changed?
Yeah, they started mucking the game up like Canisius did the other day. And, when we have numbers against their pressure, we have to attack with confidence. But, listen, we want to get the ball up and play with tempo. It doesn't mean we have to shoot it quick. And then we had a couple of turnovers, and then they got us out in transition. And once they make 1 or 2 threes and they're feeling good and they're spraying it, then they become really, really good. So, we just got to get to the point where we're getting a little bit better with our ball screen defense, get more pressure on that passer, get better with the transition defense, keep it low turnover, and we'll have a shot at the end.
All right, thanks, John.
Thank you.
And turnovers are an issue, 12 so far for the Peacocks. Well, the history does not bode well for number 1 seeds, as it turns out, in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. We have to go all the way back to the third of 3 straight championships by Siena 7 years ago, since we had a 1 seed hold through and not get upset, Rob. And we saw it again this year, second straight year that Monmouth wins the regular season title and can't get it done at tournament time.
And Tim Kloos knows about that as well, because 2 times they were the number 1 seed, unable to win the conference championship. One of those 2 times, though, they were rewarded by the NCAA selection committee with the at-large bid. But you're right, it's interesting. I would suspect that there's not a whole lot of conferences across the country that haven't had their number 1 seed win a championship since back in 2010.
Yeah, I wonder. I'd be curious to see that data. And in the big conferences, if a team in the ACC doesn't win after winning the regular season title, who cares? So they fall from the 1 line to the 2 line. Where in leagues like this one, it means everything. Idowu with 7. St. Peter's got a real good look coming out of that timeout. Let's see what Iona's got. Ricky McGill back in at the point. Casimir. I find it interesting, Coach Dunn saying, we want to play with pace, we just don't need to shoot it so fast. What exactly does that mean, Ron?
Well, you got to cut, you got to move without the basketball, you got to force them to guard you throughout possessions, you can't stand around.
Peacocks just keep working the offensive glass, and they continue to extend possessions.
Griffin was open, and they missed him.
In spite of all that hard work on the offensive glass, only 6 second chance points for St. Peter's. Seven to shoot. Idowu spins away from Bessick and puts up an air ball. Much rising up. Way off the mark. He had a quick start to the game. Haven't heard much from him since. No pun intended.
Another turnover for St. Peter's, 13. And they've turned into 18-2 advantage in points off turnovers. That's the whole ball game right there. This is a St. Peter's team, Doug, that usually doesn't beat themselves. We've said it before. They're in the top 25 in the country and fewest turnovers per game, averaging less than 11.
Yep. Not tonight. 3 to shoot, so Sevier has to chuck it.
And the buzzer had gone off, but the ball clearly had hit the rim.
Yeah, so it
should have been a reset.
But the ball was going out of bounds, so it should just be whoever saved it out of bounds. Forget the buzzer, play on. Ball went out of bounds. Who was the last to touch?
Yep. But sometimes when you hear that buzzer as a player, your natural reaction is to stop. Clearly the ball, I tell you what, I thought it had hit the rim.
So did I.
It may not have. And remember, that is a situation now where they can go to the monitor to check that. They have missed one right there. But I thought clearly live that it hit the rim.
Me too. From our angle, we both thought for sure it hit the rim.
Yep, so I can see why they didn't go to check it.
Washington draws the double team. Saw Griffin coming to the right, so he spun left and put it in.
Absolutely, and what they do is they run the double once he starts dribbling the basketball, so as soon as he put it down, but you're right, he had the vision to see where it was coming from and turned away.
White met at the rim, and Sevier gets the foul.
Now, Jordan Washington was quiet in the first half, but he has woken up here in the second half. They're starting to play through the big guy, and he's delivering. Gales with the 7-point lead on Champ Week.
We are MAAC. Student athletes from MAAC schools meet 3 times a year
to discuss NCAA legislation,
share our school's best practices,
and make a difference
by volunteering in the community.
At the MAAC, our voices are heard.
Though we compete against each other,
we are united,
working towards the common goal of enhancing the student-athlete experience.
We are
MAAC.
Oh, that's lovely.
So graceful.
The corkscrew spin, flawless. His signature move, the Flying Dutchman. Poetry in motion.
And there it is, the baby bird.
Breathtaking.
A sumo wrestler figure skating? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much money Heather saved by switching to Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Iona by 7, 49-42, under 8 minutes remaining here in regulation. And Jordan Washington, after having scored just 6 points, making only 1 field goal in the first half, is now up to 18 points, 5 for 7 from the floor, 8 and 9 from the line, 4 steals. So much more typical stat line that we're accustomed to as long as he stays out of foul trouble.
And he has stayed out of foul trouble. Early on, St. Peter's was trying to pound the basketball inside to Welton. That worked. Lately, they've gone away from it.
Well, our esteemed statistician Dave Freeman pointed out to me while I was talking about Mr. Weish and Mr. Clark, they both wear the uniform number 3. And I'm just not a uniform number guy. I don't remember that sort of stuff. Dave is a proud St. Peter's alumnus, so that stuff is seared somewhere in his brain.
Now that you say it, you do remember Kiki with 3?
Yeah. Yep.
He could throw up those threes. But yeah, and that's surprising because, you know, if you think about a number that should be retired for St. Peter's, Kiki Clark's got to be at the top of that list.
You think? 3,000 career points. McGill hits the triple.
Well, good extra pass by Sevier to find McGill in the corner. That's what's so hard about Iona. They can stretch you out with so many guys from beyond the three-point line. They've got 3 of the top 5 in the league in three-point field goal percentage.
White. A 2 for number 3. 11 points, matching his season average. And it draws the Peacocks back within 6. Here's Washington. before the double team could come, but he misses the jump hook.
That was a good post move. And I like the way they brought him out to the perimeter and then dive him into the post, so he's not a sitting target for that double.
Welton gives it back to Baker. Had it poked away. Welton picks up the free ball and lays it in.
Now here's where St. Peter's, if they can put together a string of a couple of stops, can get themselves right back in. They're back in already, only trailing by 4.
Washington.
See, as soon as he puts it on the floor, that's when the double comes.
And with Welton going to the floor, Washington was alone for his own putback.
Oh, and it's funny. Iona's only got 5 offensive rebounds, but they've turned them into 10 second chance points.
Pretty good.
Taking advantage of every extra opportunity. Good hands by Welton.
Yeah, tough pass by Griffin in between 2 of his teammates.
And they need him to make some threes. Griffin's their best three-point shooter, and he really hasn't gotten on track in either game here in Albany.
No, only 3 points tonight on 1 triple. He's 3rd in the conference at 44%. Cassell, good-looking shot from the foul line area.
And he got the good shot because he moved without the basketball. Iona got all spread out. They spread the defense with him. Wide open at the high post.
He made himself available and was shot ready. Just over 5 minutes to go. Siena awaits the winner in the MAAC title game. Costly turnover again for St. Peter's. Devon Baker out. And Chaz Patterson comes in. And if you're looking for a stop or 2 or 3, like you said, Rob, a string of stops, good to get Patterson back out there. The defensive player of the year in the MAAC. Jordan Washington is calling for the ball to his teammate and using both his first and last names. John Sevier. In case John didn't know he was talking to him.
The other John out on the floor.
Tough pass and another Peacocks turnover.
The 15th for St. Peter's. They just have not taken care of the basketball good enough here for John Dunn.
Looking to go one-on-one against Griffin. Strong finish with the left.
Got by him by just about a half a step, and then the lefty finish in traffic. Big bucket there for the Gales to stretch it back out to double-figure lead.
Grad student out of Christ the King High School now with 10 points. Griffin no. Welton able to track it down.
This is St. Peter's team that's not built to come back from big deficits. They kind of grind it out offensively. They've got to find a way to get something going if they're going to cut into this lead. John Sevier with a good move to his left and an even better finish through 3 Peacocks. Iona trying to get to the final.
There's one state that has more ski mountains to choose from than any other in the country. And that's not the only thing you can only find in New York State. You can find it all, only in New York. New York, it's all here. It's only here. Plan your winter getaway at iloveny.com.
It's knowing that you will always compete against the best, while making you become the best that you can be. It's about joining a family with a storied history, where athletics and academics are held to the highest of standards. It's about creating the future leaders of tomorrow, all with the focus on one goal: graduation. It's the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Oh,
Yes, there you go. Little dribble drive.
Feel the intensity of NCAA March Madness.
That's a three.
You've got to see it to believe it. The 2017 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship first and second rounds. March 16th and 18th at the Key Bank Center in Buffalo. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets for your seats today.
MAAC basketball is brought to you by Geico. I love New York. New York State. It's all here. It's only here. Visit iloveny.com. Life Storage. It's your life. Store it with care. And UHY, the leading choice for professional tax and business consulting services. UHY. Experience the next level of service. Nobody in the country, not Marcus Keene at Central Michigan, nobody, but nobody scores more points per minute than that guy, Jordan Washington, and he's doing it again tonight. 20 points in 24 minutes of action, Rob.
And most of it's been in the second half, much like it was in the quarterfinal against Ryder.
So he's sitting on 20. Deshaun Much with 11. John Sevier with 10. All of those coming in the second half. Welton has 16 to lead the Peacocks. Weish with 13. Devon Baker back in. Washington's going to be called for the foul. Says, I didn't touch him. But you'd expect for him to say that.
Of course, but what you don't want is to pick up a technical by running with the basketball and your hand down to the other end. You're up by 10, don't worry about it.
And in our first semifinal, we saw a technical foul called against Monmouth that turned out to be very costly.
Absolutely.
No technical here, though. Just the personal foul that sends Welton to the free throw line. And on Mr. Washington, that is his third personal. Points for Welton. And if you're wondering, also Ricky McGill and Deshaun Much applying with 3 fouls. For St. Peter's, only Welton has 3. Nobody worse off than that on either side. Sevier trying to get around Patterson, who takes that challenge. Forced a tough shot, and the Peacocks have it back.
That's what they need to do. They've got to come up with stops.
White creates some space and then missed the easy shot. McGill sees that it's a lot of white jerseys in front of him. Knows they're up by 8, and he turns around and says, let's work a little clock and get a good shot.
That was a missed opportunity there for St. Peter. Weiss point blank just put it a little too hard.
Sevier is going to be called for the grab on the arm of Welton after Welton stole the ball from him.
Yeah, that was a good call. Clearly, Sevier grabbed the hold once. Quadir Welton, the big guy, jumps the screen, sees an opportunity right there. Sevier got the basketball away from him. That's a terrific call.
Third foul on Sevier. And so he'll take a seat, catch his breath. Looks like he's holding that left hand or thumb a little bit. Deshaun Much, said Casimir, Sam Cassell Jr., Jordan Washington, and Ricky McGill defending for Iona.
And Iona in the matchup.
Weiss tries from the right side and can't connect, and then Cassell Jr. gets fouled. There was action after the whistle. That's the third on Baker. And the 7th against St. Peter's. So now both teams are in the bonus. And we will walk to the other end.
And when you're down by 8 and you're trying to fight your way back in the ball game, if you get dribble penetration all the way into the lane, you got to be able to convert.
Here's a good look at Sam Cassell. He does look like his daddy. Sam Jr. played his high school ball at St. Francis Academy. He grew up in Baltimore. Of course, his dad was a sensational player at Florida State University. And then went on to a long NBA career. Spent 15 seasons at that level as a player. 3 times winning championships, including twice with the Houston Rockets.
Now St. Peter's can't be as patient offensively.
On cue, Baker put it up. And St. Peter's has gone cold here in the last few minutes. Looked like Weish might have almost been trying to give up the foul. Don't think he was, but the whistle finally comes. It's Patterson who gets called for it. And so another 1-and-1. It'll send Ced Casimir. I mentioned in the first half during last night's press conference for Iona, Tim Kluse was asked if he was concerned about Ced Casimir coming back and playing 24 hours later, and the toll that it's taken on his body with those 3 surgeries. And they both joked that it's going to be no problem. Said guaranteed he's going to be fine, and so the coach was quite confident that his redshirt sophomore was going to come up with another big performance. Well, he's been able to play the minutes, but so far only 3 points. That's kind of the way his year has gone. But it's always a good sign to be able to see him out there playing. Now Casimir goes out. He's actually holding his left hip.
Yep.
Oh, that's too bad.
And again, the back-to-back game's got to be hard on his body. But you want him in late in the game because such a good foul shooter, 93% on the season, but he might be done for the night.
Portley high off the window for his first 2. And the quick timeout call. Well, while we've got a moment, I know for Rob Kennedy, I'd like to also throw in, we have a long stretch for our crew who worked so hard all week long. This is a long stretch, a lot of games, both men and women's side, and we just want to rattle off a few names and say thank you so much for all of your efforts. Andy Brill, Tim Rooney, Steve Pingelski, Winfield Clark, Marty Race, Dave Burke, Steve Turo, Manny Ruiz, Peter Hutchins, Buzz Schwing, Grant Dobbins, Craig McCaslin, Eric Brush, W.L. Jackson, Jeff Watson, Chris Svensson, Karen Tappenden, Wayne Grassfield, Carmen Sensky, Dave Friedman, who we mentioned, our terrific statistician here next to us, Dave Taska, Steve Fennig. Again, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And without you guys and gals, we couldn't do what we do. And it's a labor of love for all of us. And there's David right there. And while you and I go catch our breath during most of the women's games, he's still here doing everything. So thank you very much.
Also building graphics beforehand as well, so doing a little bit of everything. Those people all do the heavy lifting. You and I have the easy part.
There's Manny.
Oh, Manny. Just hanging and chilling like he always is.
Audio man extraordinaire. He's chilling except for if something goes wrong. Then he's jumping right on it. But so far, so good. We have had one clean show after another, and I hope I haven't just jinxed us. 61-52 Iona. The Gales are a minute 50 away from getting back to the MAAC championship game for a 5th consecutive year.
And as we said, that would be 6 out of 7 in the Tim Kluse era. In any league, if you get to the championship game 6 out of 7 times, that is a dominant stretch.
22 for Washington. Yeah, no doubt about that, Rob. And in the 4 previous finals, Coach Kluse and his Gales are 2-2. Portley. That's 5 points for Portley. But back to the other end, Ricky McGill lays it in.
And also a lot of credit to Pat Lyons, who was the Iona AD, who lost Kevin Willard to to Seton Hall, and then had to find a coach. Tim Kluse, a guy who had success high school, junior college, Division II level. A lot of times ADs won't take a chance on a guy like that. Right. They want a guy with Division I experience. Pat Lyons stepped up, recognized something in Tim Kluse, and has started one of the most successful runs in Iona history, and they've had some pretty good runs.
Well, clearly the game is not over, and Coach Kluse is not thinking about tomorrow, not thinking about his legacy.
Not yet.
up by 7 with 1:07 to go, so clearly not over. St. Peter's has plenty of time to get this turned around, and Antoine Portley with 3 buckets here in the late going. In a blink of an eye, he's got 8 points and keeps the Peacocks alive. Well, time now to look at our Life Storage play of the game. It's your life. Store it with care, and we go to Mr. Washington.
And certainly a bunch of choices with Washington, but a little up and under to finish through traffic. Jordan Washington with a big second half to key a big second half for the Gales.
Iona foul. Much picks up his 4th.
And that's about as bad a play as you could possibly have.
For sure.
If you're Iona.
Portley, he's been feeling it. Another swish.
And much with those 4 fouls, didn't want to challenge and guard him. We're down to 5 points here.
Cassell fouled by Patterson. That's the 9th team foul against the Peacocks, so just a 1-1 coming up for Iona. Portley's been the offensive spark here late. And now Cassell, 83% on the year. He is 1 of 2 from the line tonight. And he will now get the bonus.
And Iona, a very good foul shooting team overall, 76%. Tops in the MAAC. It's always so important when you're trying to close out close ball games.
2 big free throws for Cassell Jr. Let's see if St. Peter's tries to go back to Portley. All 10 of his points have come in the last minute. Here's White. He nails the 3. And it's a 4-point game.
Able to hide behind that high ball screen. Now you've got to give up the foul.
Baker does just that, and Sevier will shoot 2. That's the 10th team foul against St. Peter's.
I like the way St. Peter's go ahead and trap. See if you can't come up with the basket in the backcourt, a steal. Hiding behind the high ball screen. Trevi Weiss steps right into it, even with Jordan Washington trying to get out there and challenge.
Sevier's got 11 points, all coming since the intermission.
And how about when you got all your guards? McGill 80%, Cassell 83%, Sevier 84%, and then Casimir, who's obviously was banged up a little bit, but now coming back into the ball game at 93%. It's a nice luxury for Tim Cluse.
He has a team, they lead the MAAC at 76% on free throws, and as you said, Casimir, he once made 44 straight free throws, which is an all-time MAAC record. And now Cassell will go back to the line.
Tell you what, Portley almost hit that one. They needed a little bit more of that offensive firepower from Portley earlier in the game.
First 38 minutes, though, they didn't get any offense from him. And so St. Peter's stuck 6 with 36.5 seconds to go.
Into the game for St. Peter's, number 0, Nick Griffin, replacing number 1, Kavon Baker.
Kavon Baker has fouled out, and so he is over to the bench. And Nick Griffin has taken his place. It's been a long and winding road for Kavon Baker. Played his freshman year at Florida Atlantic University. Then his sophomore year at Lee Junior College, just east of Houston. Then junior year, he played at the University of Houston before now playing his senior year at St. Peter's. Need a road mat to keep track, but he is nearing the end of the line. Jan Svanderlich into the game for the first time, defending, and looks like he's going to be called for the personal. Shot clock is off with 29.3 remaining. Weish at the line, 78% of the year. Second team All MAAC this year. Made second team last year as a junior as well. Washington returns. Sponderlick out.
If he hits this, we're back down to a 2-possession ball game, so still enough time. You got to come up with some steals though.
McGill to inbound. Finds Cassell. Back to McGill with all sorts of open floor. He's going to go in and lay it up. 73-65.
Now that's the way you beat pressure.
Portley misfires. McGill gets the rebound, and it looks like the Peacocks have called off the Wolves. Sam Cassell Jr. recognizes that, and in a nice move of sportsmanship will just dribble it out. Iona and Siena finished the regular season tied in third place. They're going to play tomorrow night for a spot in the NCAA tournament.
And they split the 2 regular season meetings, and for the 5th consecutive year, Tim Plouse's team will play in the MAAC championship game with that NCAA tournament bid on the line.
Jordan Washington leads the way. His 21 points help the Gales rally 73-65. Iona had just 24 points in the first half. They put 49 on the board in the second half against the MAAC's stingiest defensive team. So it'll be Iona versus Siena at 9 o'clock tomorrow night on ESPN2 for the MAAC championship. Back here with our post game from semifinal number 2, won by Iona 73-65. The top 2 seeds are out at the MAAC championships here in Albany. Monmouth lost the first semi to Siena, and St. Peter's has gone down to Iona 73-65. So 9 o'clock tomorrow, ESPN2, the title game between the Saints and the Gales for a spot in the NCAA tournament. We send it now over to Rob Kennedy, standing by with the Geico player of the game and the winning head coach for the Gales, Tim Plouse.
We're checking out the stat sheet over here, Doug. The one thing we were looking at, Tim, turnovers. You guys did a great job of forcing turnovers. At halftime, you made a couple adjustments. I thought the biggest one was going to the full court pressure defense to kind of wake your team up. They responded.
Yeah, we weren't playing with energy, so we figured let's go after them. Maybe that will wake us up. And I also inserted 2 of the seniors and gave them a chance. I said, listen, you don't want to end your career here with the loss tonight. Come out and lead the way. And those 2, Jordan, the entire team responded and had a really good second half.
And that's one of the things. You've got so many choices. You got different options. You mentioned getting John in the starting lineup and Sam as well. When you were in the locker room, you were thinking about trying to wake them up, and obviously that was one of your choices.
It was, and I responded really well like seniors should.
And now you've been here 5 consecutive times, 6 out of 7. We were talking about, I mean, that is a dominant performance for you and your team. You've got to be proud of that.
I'm really proud of my guys, but I've had players who have worked their tail off, and they're the reason we get here and have gotten here so often, and I'm just blessed. St. Peter's a heck of a game. but we're really happy to be in the game tomorrow night.
And one of those players that helped you get here, Jordan Washington, a terrific second half again. You were quiet in both games up here so far in the first half. What's been the difference for you in the second half?
My team just picked me up, man. They told me to believe in myself, and that's what I did. They kept telling me to keep pushing myself, and that's what I did.
And you play with such emotion out on the floor, but that really seems to get you fired up and get you going.
Yeah, my emotions are always getting me fired up. I got to control a little bit, but I'll be all right.
And tomorrow night there'll be a lot of emotion in the building because you're playing on Siena's home floor, but you were able to beat them earlier this season up here. Does that help you guys prepare for tomorrow's game, knowing that you were able to handle the crowd?
Oh, man, that game is in the past now. Now it's time. It's a new game now. It's a new ball game, so it's 0-0. So that's the beginning of the season, so we're going to start playing Siena like that, okay?
All right, congratulations. Good luck tomorrow in the final.
All right, congratulations, Jordan Washington, our Geico player of the game. Iona 73, St. Peter's 65. The Gales will get the Saints, and it should be a rockin' house here at the Times Union Center. Siena during the regular season in this building averaging just about 6,000 fans per game. They had a loud crowd for our first semifinal tonight. And Rob Kennedy, it should be fun tomorrow for the Saints and the Gales as you and I wind down our MAAC tournament, because we're going to turn things over for the championship game tomorrow night to Sean McDonough and Jay Billis. You may have heard of those two, so we're happy to have them
big
come
upgrade.
in.
At least on the Billis-Kennedy trade.
Well, I don't know about all of that, but what are your thoughts as we turn it over and we've gotten through with the two teams that tied for third place now to play for the title?
Couple of thoughts. The fact that, once again, the number one seed didn't win the tournament. I think it's amazing. You go back to 2010, the last time the number one seed won the tournament. You feel so bad for a guy like Justin Robinson, back-to-back MAAC Player of the Year. You know he just wanted to finish up his career with an opportunity to play in the big dance. Not sure that's going to end up happening. And the other big thing is the dominance of Iona. For the fact that Tim Kluse has gotten his team to the championship game 6 out of 7 times. Iona's had some great teams and some great runs. This run matches all of those.
And they could pick up a third title in the Tim Kluse era. They've already been to the NCAA tournament 3 times in the last 6 years under Tim Kluse, and they've got a real good chance of doing it again. But, you know, Siena has played its best basketball as the season's worn on. They've got 4 seniors with 1,000 points. They will have a little more rest if that comes into play tomorrow night, and it should be fun.
Yeah, and they'll have a lot more people rooting for them in this building, I can guarantee you that. The other thing I can guarantee you, if Nico Clarith gets 27 in the second half again tomorrow, I like the Saints' chances.
Thank you very much.
Always great to work with you, Doug.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
It.
All right, thank you very much for joining us, and we will wind things down on semifinals Sunday. The Iona Gales defeat the St. Peter's Peacocks 73-65. Join us again tomorrow at 5 o'clock on ESPNU when we bring you the 2017 MAAC Women's Championship. It'll be between the top-seeded Quinnipiac Bobcats and the number 2 seed Rider University Broncs. And then again, the Men's Championship will pit Iona and Siena 9 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN2. For Rob Kennedy and our entire crew, I'm Doug Sherman saying so long from Albany, New York.